Yeah, evening again, guys, girls. First of all, I want to say thanks to you all for watching my videos. And tonight is a continuation, really, um, from last night. You know about the drug scene and all that in the late 80s, mid 90s, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, what we're going to do. It's going to go from when I got out of High Point Prison in '95, and I was only out for a few months, so the story is going to be about that period. Yeah, so yeah, so in I think it was May '95, I got released from High Point Prison. I've been away for a few years, so basically, yeah, got released from the prison, got my discharge grant, and made my way back to London. So when I got down into South London, Southwest London, I hooked up with a couple of good friends of mine, Chrissy, for many of you that are from that part of Southwest London, around Wimbledon, Malden, you'll probably know what I mean. Chrissy and Ivor. Chrissy, he's done a bit of bird for importation. He used to do the runs from Spain, you know, in his Saab with all the hash, the bars of hash packed into those old Saab 900 bumpers, you know, and that's what he got caught for in the end. But this was a bit later on, a couple of years later. But also, you know, he was a bit of a face, and he used to sell heroin as well. You know, not necessarily at street level, you know, a bit higher up than that, you know, weighed amounts, you know, apes, quarters, ounces, and so on and so on. So, yeah, I mean, he looked after me when I've been in prison, you know, and so yeah, we met up, and yeah, basically, this is about the times what we used to do, really, you know. So at the time, I was staying at a girl's house in Carshalton, just off Fellows Road there, just round the corner from Tony Blight and Lisa's place back then, and yeah, I think it's Brooklyn Close. So I was staying there for a bit, and obviously during the daytime, in the evening, I was out and about with Chrissy and Ivor the Dread, and Ivor the Dread had a couple of brothers. I was also friendly with Colin and Rodney, but mainly Ivor and Colin. Yeah. So yeah, we've hooked up and that, you know, and Chris, you know, he's got his business selling the brown, and basically I've helped him out with that, you know. Although I was doing other things as well, I did manage to get myself a little car, a Triumph, you know, because I've been away for a few years, and obviously, as you know, that's I wasn't a rich person, but that used up any cash that I did have put away, you know. So, like I say, Chris was helping me out quite a bit. So yeah, it's about just some of the stuff we used to do. So what we used to do, I was either be with Chrissy around his house in up near the Beverley there in Malden, or just up the road at Ivor's place, and basically, yeah. So we'd always have brown, you know. We'd buy big parcels of brown, but also parcels of cocaine powder, you know. And what we used to do, uh, we'd weigh all that up, you know, and weigh it up in grams, and also wash it up as well, you know, for rocks. And what we'd do, we'd wash it up either with ammonia or bicarbonate of soda, you know. And basically, yeah, with the powder, cocaine powder, what we used to do, we used to go to a few nightclubs around London and sell the powder in grams, you know. And we used to go to places like, I don't know if anyone knows, Club UK in Wandsworth was a place we used to go quite a bit. And also the Astoria, um, which is up Tottenham Court Road. We used to go there quite a bit as well, you know. And it was a good night out as well, as well as earning a nice bit of cash, you know. And yeah, But also during the daytime, Chris was doing his uh, heroin selling business, and I remember this one time. I don't know. I can't remember whose car we was in. We might have been in Chris's car or my Triumph, but we stopped in Sutton there. Down the bottom of Sutton by the adult school. There used to be a public toilets there. Because we've been in the car for quite a while driving, and we needed to take a pee basically. So we parked the car up, me and Chris. Um, gone into the toilet. And I know for a fact Chris didn't have any gear on him, on his person, nor did I. But he did have cash, quite a bit of cash, and so we've gone into the toilet and we're taking a pee, you know, standing there taking a pee, and all of a sudden we've heard footsteps, and what it is, it's a load of plainclothes old Bill. Well, not a load. I think it's about 3 or 4 of them. Have come into the toilets, while we're relieving ourselves, having a pee, and basically said, right, we want to know what you're doing and all that, and we suspect you've been selling drugs and all this sort of stuff, and basically was searching us, in the toilets. So yeah, so basically they've gone through my pockets and all that, not found any gear or anything like that, and just then they started on Chris, going through his pockets and found a wad of cash. There was quite a bit there, and this is Sutton Old Bill, by the way, yeah, and this sort of behaviour is, this is how they used to be back in the day. So basically, yeah, when they're searching Chris, they found a few quid, tens, £20 notes, there must have been, easily a couple of grand there, and basically, yeah, they just took the money and said, go and fuck off or you get nicked. Even though we didn't have nothing on us, I'm sure they would have invented something. So basically, yeah, they just robbed Chris and, kept the money, But yeah, so yeah, that's just a quick bit of this story though, guys. Yeah. So yeah, after that, because they did used to have it right in for Chris all the time, and me obviously. They was watching me from when I first got out, from the day I got out, thinking they would catch me on a bit of work and all that sort of stuff. And I was doing stuff, yeah. Um, but yeah, and another time we used to go to East London, to score sometimes. I mean, Chris, he had his own contacts all around Southwest London. He knew all the people there was to know, for Brown back then, but occasionally, he'd get stuck or we'd get stuck, and there wouldn't be no one else around the area, for what we needed. So we'd have to travel somewhere else, and funny enough, where I'd come out of High Point, I did meet quite a few people in there. There was a couple of guys in there from Barking, Callum and Martin, 2 brothers from Barking there. And yeah, this one time we used to have to go over there to see them, to score. And we used to go to the Gascoigne estate there, and go over there to buy ounces of brown and stuff like that. I mean, back then, I think it was paying quite a bit, I think it was still about £9,000 an ounce. It did get cheaper a few years later, but yeah, but it was top quality gear, But I will say though, what happened another time, I went over to Barking with Ivor's brother Colin one time, with the money, and he's entrusted me with the money, to go and see the 2 brothers there, thinking, well, I've seen them for Brown quite a few times and it's all been alright, but you just never know in that world. So this time I've gone over with Colin, and he had this really nice Mark II Escort van, all tuned up and that. It was lovely. So we gone over to see Martin and Callum at the flats where they lived in this big tower block. And basically what happened was, yeah, we said what we wanted, an ounce of coke, and that was going to be 1,200 quid, because Colin wanted it, to wash it up so he could shot it out, in £10, £20 stones. But basically, yeah, so I said to Colin, yeah, they're all right. I've been up here loads of times, been up here with Chris and that, you know. But what happened was I gave Martin the £1,200, you know, and he said, all right, I'll be back in a minute, you know. And then basically what happened, time started going by and it just didn't feel right, you know. And we're sitting in the flat, me and Colin, and there's about 4 or 5 geezers, Callum, his brother there, and a few of their other pals, you know, a lot of them, you know, and basically he didn't come back, you know. So me and Colin, we went down to the concierge at the bottom of the flat saying, did you see Martin come past here and all that? And this guy weren't cooperating, and he said, I don't know what you mean, I don't know what you mean, you know. So basically we got ripped off that time, you know. And funny enough, Colin was really all right about it because he knew that it was genuine and he knew that I wasn't involved in it, you know. Right, yeah, so that's a 10-minute story there, guys. Obviously, we can get on with this another time. We go to the stage a few months later where I get arrested and end up back in Highdown and on remand again, you know. By the end of 95, I was back in jail on remand, you know, and that's another story for another time. And yeah, so that's it, guys. Just a little bedtime story for you. And yeah, I'll speak to you all soon. Good night.